Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to do the next part of the Vault-Tec series, and since last week was Vault 11, which is quite a heavy subject matter, you know, it's really quite a sad and disturbing story. So I thought we would do one that was a wee bit more light-hearted this week. So you find me here at Boston Common, just outside Park Street Station. So we're going to take a look at Vault 114. So this is the vault, it is one that you visit for the main quest in Fallout 4. Because you need to rescue good old Nick Valentine from here. But this is one of the vaults that you can access that was never actually occupied. The reason being that construction wasn't completed. So yeah, the reason this vault was never occupied was because construction didn't get completed in time. And it's basically inside the metro underground station, whatever you want to call it. So when you come here, it is occupied by Triggermen, who are managed by I've forgotten his name. Okay, these are just the toilets. So yeah, so we're inside one of the metro stations, which is full of deceased Triggermen. And the first thing to look at is this terminal. So this is obviously like the ticket office here. So yeah, error for purchasing tickets. And the reason for that, notice terminal shutdown. Notice the purchasing of subway tokens for this station will automatically cease on the 2nd of November. Or the 11th, no wait. 11th February. 2077. I get confused because you guys do your dates weird in America, but yep. So to coincide with the station closing, any questions should be addressed to the station manager or Vault-Tec representative before your employment termination date. Again, Park Street terminals will cease to validate token dispensations after this date. Previously issued tokens remain usable at all other Boston subway and monorail service platforms. Thank you. So basically this station was being closed, so the terminals for purchasing subway tokens were automatically going to be shut down. Employee notice. So this is great and very nice and personalised. Dear Employee ID, I regret to inform you that your station, Park Street, will be closing due to a purchase agreement with Vault-Tec Corporation. As such, we will be going through our records and redistributing our many valued employees to other stations and departments. The automated system should identify your new location. You have relocated to employee terminated. Thank you, and we look forward to many more years working with you. So they've sent out obviously a automated kind of notice of the station closing and that you were all going to be relocated, except this employee was relocated to nowhere essentially. So yeah, pretty harsh, because Vault-Tec have obviously purchased this station in order to build a vault in it. So, you know, that's pretty harsh, and that's one thing that we know in terms of the kind of economics and stuff of the world pre-bombs, that it wasn't great, and you know, employee rights and things were absolutely atrocious. I mean, you could argue that that is realistic, but certainly, like, you know, the fact that they could just be like, yeah, you're going to be relocated, but actually you're just fired. I don't know if there's anyone alive down here. So yeah, we're down onto the railway line here, and you can see, well, tunnels are blocked, and it's all shipping containers and Vault-Tec crates everywhere. And we see that in Vault 88 as well, that, you know, the underground construction that they used, sort of the subway trains to ship construction materials and goods in and out, which makes a lot of sense, really. You know, why build more infrastructure if it already exists? And you can see the spinning lights there. So again, more cranes, forklifts, shipping containers, and various construction things. And here we go, here's our vault door. So this is Vault 114. Welcome home. Skinny Malone, that's the guy's name. So yeah, when you come here to get Nick Valentine, the Triggermen are being managed by Skinny Malone, who you can talk down if you get the the thing from Emma Murphy, so that you can make reference to an incident from his past, presumably. And also there's no shortage of Vault 114 jumpsuits if that's something that you would really like to have. Vault-Tec terminal, let's see. Confidential, Vault-Tec clearance SL4 required, employee eyes only, violation VTP 01041. Welcome employees. Greetings. After many months of preliminary construction, we are pleased to welcome members of the technical and scientific staff to the newest addition to the Vault-Tec family, Vault 114. Like you, we are excited to get started on our latest endeavour, but we are not quite ready to open that great big gear door to our new residents yet. As you have probably noticed, we've contracted outside Vault-Tec for construction on this one, since it is utilising a unique space. By repurposing the former Park Street subway station, we will be seeing a decrease in building costs as well as a shorter timeline for construction. This fits perfectly with the Vault's observational studies, which will be revealed in a future memorandum. However, because of this, we will be seeing a lot of civilian traffic until construction is fully completed. It is up to you to help maintain the security of Vault 114 and its experiment from prying eyes without proper clearance. Loose lips sink ships, of course. They also result in immediate termination and possible criminal investigation. Welcome, once again, Vault-Tec management. So, yeah, basically, because of where this vault's located, they're hoping that it's going to reduce their timeline for construction and reduce their costs. But there's a risk of people that they refer to as civilian traffic around, and they obviously want to kind of hide the fact that Vault 114 has an experiment, because they don't want anybody to know that there's experiments going on. And if anybody allows that to happen, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So that's that. And then private science staff only. Warning, this memorandum is meant for members of the Vault 114 Science Division only, or those with appropriate security clearance levels SL4+. All others must exit this terminal immediately and report your infraction to the overseer or a member of Vault-Tec security. Thank you. Social Science Division. As mentioned in your briefing, Vault 114 will be hosting high-ranking members of local and state government, local luminaries, business people and their families. Future members are aware that they will be cohabiting solely with others of Boston's upper class. However, the luxury aspect of this vault has been highly exaggerated to the future residents. Multiple families, chosen randomly, will live and sleep in single-room apartments. Dining and bathing will be in shared quarters, and amenities will be minimal. In addition, we are currently interviewing for the overseer position from many candidates. Our goal is to find someone with no supervisory or government experience, and hopefully with a strong anti-authority bias. Human Resources tells us that the interview process has vetted many viable candidates. By taking away the luxury and authority these groups saw in surface life, we hope to study their reactions in stressful situations. As such, please Do not undermine the new overseer's authority at all during the experiment, even and especially if it may cause physical discomfort, embarrassment or harm to residents. Thank you, Vault-Tec Management. So that does lay things out pretty well, that basically they are offering positions in this vault to the upper class, so all the wealthy businessmen and the the elite kind of people that are used to living in the lap of luxury are being placed into this vault, and they're being told, oh yeah, it's going to be so luxurious, it's going to be really nice. You're going to have everything that you ever wanted and all the comforts that you enjoyed before. And they were going to be living in tiny apartments with shared shower rooms and shared dining, as well as recruiting an overseer who is exactly the worst type of person that they could possibly want to be in charge of every aspect of their lives. So we will get back to the overseer choices later on. But this is us kind of down into the vault proper. So what is this? Check-in terminal. So check-in. Please remind residents to line up in an orderly fashion, change into vault suits immediately, and save all questions for orientation. So this is fairly similar to when we go into Vault 111 at the beginning of this game. You'd literally hear them saying line up in an orderly fashion, and you get handed your vault suits, and any questions, it's like, oh yeah, we'll go over all that in orientation. Obviously not telling you that you're going to be stuck in a cryogenic pod for 200 years. And then I think this is the allocations for who lives where. So residency A1, Linehan family, Sean, wife Martha, sons John and Mitchell. Flaherty family, Michael, wife Joan, daughter Elizabeth. Presley family, Jenna, husband Richard. So it's 3 families in residency A1. A2, O'Malley family, Michael, wife Jennifer, son Robert, daughter Ellen, infant. Baker family, Ralph, fiancée Sarah, dog Spike, do not allow, so no dogs in the vaults, it's not allowed. And Yancey family, Murray, wife Amy, sons Jimmy and Ronnie. Because they would probably assume that they'd be allowed to have their dog with them, and there's no dogs allowed in the vaults. So residency B2, Madison family, Bill, wife Belinda, daughters Jean, Mary and Melissa. Smith family, Sean, wife Molly, son Paul, daughter Stephanie, who's an infant. And B3, O'Brien family, Kevin, wife Megan, sons Ryan, Brandon, Logan, daughters Molly, Anna, Kayla, Brenna, infant. Then Todd Gates, who's a bachelor. So yeah, so that's obviously the kind of getting the residents in and settled and being told where they're going to be staying, which they're going to absolutely love. We've got more Vault Boy motivational posters. Extermination is everyone's job. Yep. Here we go. So residential, cafeteria, lavatory, atrium, nursery, laundry, depot, overseer. So we can start to look around, and again there's loads of these motivational posters. And here's some of the residential areas. So instead of living in the lap of luxury, there's beds with some pathetically small curtains for privacy. A lot of whiskey, which, considering that there was never any actual residents in this vault, the alcohol may be from the construction company rather than anything else. And then yep, here's one with bunk beds, and again just some like curtains and lockers for privacy. The nursery, again, just a big communal nursery instead of, you know, them having space in their kind of family residential area for their babies. They've got a nursery here. There's some nice tiles at least. That's something that you don't see very often. Depot. Yeah, this is just a storage. And come round and down to the next level, and there's more residential space. So here's another, it's a bigger residential space really. Again, you know, we've got metal shelves and lockers for storage and bunk beds. And curtains for privacy, nothing blocked off by crates. Because remember, this vault was unfinished, so I can actually come around to the other side of that. What's in here? Storage. Yeah, like a janitorial closet kind of a thing. Makes sense. Yep. Again, another big communal living space. It's, you know, it's set up like a hostel almost, and certainly, I mean, it's been many years. I remember staying in a hostel on a school trip, and it was like this. I mean, we were booked in, we had the full room, but you know, it's like just a room with several bunk beds in it, which is not comfortable, especially not compared to having your own separate like bathroom and everything. So there's laundry room here. Presumably they would be expected to do their own laundry, which for the wealthy elite probably isn't something that they're that used to doing. Let's go back, because I did see there was a... I mean, it is designed like a maze, and that's just because it is a dungeon for you to trek through to get to Nick Valentine. So the fact that it's under construction means that obviously it's kind of blocked off a bit, so you can work your way around and fight all the Triggermen. So there's kitchen, which is, you know, fairly similar to the kitchen that we had in our house. And again, the expectation probably is that they would be expected to cook and prepare their own food, rather than having it done for them. And obviously going out to like a restaurant and things isn't really an option in post-apocalypse. But yeah, there's the laundry room, and then we've got the next level down. It's a hell of a walk from the like bedrooms to the fact that the toilets are down here as well, the lavatory, which is here. Again, there's not even proper like cubicles. You've just got a curtain. You know, you have this, you wouldn't complain about the gaps in the cubicle doors. If you had to use this. But yeah, so this is the way the bathrooms are set up, and the showers, again, much the same. You know, there's no proper like private bathrooms or anything, literally just, yeah. So again, I mean, you know, it's enough to live with. It's not comfortable or pleasant, but that's kind of the point. It's that these people that are used to having all the comforts of home and, you know, having everything that they could want at their fingertips and not having to, you know, it's the upper class. They're going to have, you know, people to clean their house for them and people to probably, you know, potentially prepare food for them and that kind of a thing. And then they're going to be forced into this situation where they don't really have any privacy. They don't have any amenities, don't have a lot of comfort for themselves. in the atrium. So yeah, there's a kind of communal space for eating and things, and yeah, again, most of this is still kind of under construction, but compared to what these people would have had access to in their lives. Right, let's head upstairs. Yeah, so this is us at the Overseer's office. Greetings, Vault Citizen. Please take a number. Your number is 998. Please wait until your number is called and the Overseer will be with you. Have a nice day. So, and then override the door controls. So that's how you'd open the door to the Overseer's office. So yeah, if people wanted to speak to the Overseer about something, they had to get a number and wait. Okay, laws of physics does not apply, and oh, this is quite cool actually. So yeah, we've got the construction survey. I'm gonna get a screenshot of that. Yeah, so there's like a kind of blueprint and everything, and interesting. Vault-Tec terminal. Is that just the same? Ah, no, it's not. Greetings, Overseer. I hope this message finds you well and your move into your new position has been an easy transition. Your appointment as Overseer came with high recommendations from our interviewers, and we hope you will be the perfect fit that everyone believes you to be. Please do not be nervous, as we have chosen you based on your natural qualities, decision-making skills and unique personality. We believe that you possess innate abilities as a leader that will bring this vault into the new world nuclear war creates. So don't worry, just go with your gut and everything will work perfectly. Good luck, Vault-Tec management. So, nice little welcome message for the Overseer of this vault. I've already picked them up in this version, so let's have a look. Okay, I did pick the holotapes up at some point early in this game, and I don't know where I put them, so I've just spawned them back in from console commands. So when you get in here, obviously Nick Valentine is here, as is the speech bobblehead, but you can also find 3 of these holotapes for Vault 114 interviews. Having some weird graphical nonsense happening on this game today. Right, scroll. Really, absolutely, I know I'm not a big enough YouTuber for anyone at Bethesda to be watching at this point, but please, for the love of God, bring back the notes tab for notes and holotapes to separate them from miscellaneous items, because this is insane trying to find all this stuff, and allow us to be able to sort it by when we picked it up, because honestly, if you need a holotape or something and you need to check something, trying to find it is a nightmare, and I hate it, and it's one of the silliest decisions that was ever made, was to take that away. Bring it back for the next game, please. Anyway, so we've got 3 interviews, Vault 114, so these were interviews held for the position of the Overseer, so let's listen to number 3 first. These are great, by the way, they're so funny.
Well, I would obviously take it through the proper channels, assuming neither of their requests were against the law, of course. This is, of course, assuming that the conflict had already gone through all the other members of the Vault's Residence Council that I plan on organizing.
Vault Residence Council, you say?
Yes, of course. People need government. They yearn for it. I think it's a civic duty of every red-blooded American patriot to serve the...
Yes, I think we have everything we need here. Thank you for your time.
Oh, already? Well, I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yes, I'm sure you will. Please make sure to fill out your non-disclosure agreement on your way out.
Yeah, so that guy, Benjamin, was like, yeah, we're going to set up a committee and a government and all the rest of it. And they're just like, no. But also noting that they had to sign an NDA after their interview. So interview 21.
This is Vault-Tec interview number 21 for the position of Overseer for Vault 114. Interview subject, Kimberly Weiss. Hello, Mrs. Weiss.
How do you do? And may I just say what an honor it is to even be considered for the position of Overseer. Ever since I was a little girl in mock government, I dreamed that one day I would have the opportunity to lead a community to greatness. My teachers all told me I had leadership potential, and without my guidance as student council vice president, those bake sales surely would have failed. Just the thought of being able to organize and run this small group, to show them a better way, to lead them to a future so bright that they...
My goodness. Looks like we're out of time.
What? We just started!
Yes. Thank you. If you could just send the next candidate in as you leave.
Oh, of course. Did I mention I was head of my debate team?
I'm sure you did. Thank you.
Yep, so again, there we've got another one, a woman who was involved in the debate team and all sorts of societies and things, so she's got a great leadership role. So they've cut the interview short and they're not really interested in that. Which she's obviously like, yeah, we've just started the interview, but she's definitely not what they are looking for. And then we get to interview number 87. And if you know, you know.
This is Vault-Tec interview number 87 for the position of Overseer for Vault 114. The candidate has refused to give his real name and has only provided the name Soup Can Harry.
That's right. I ain't telling you nothing. My name is the name I call myself, not the rank and number the government branch on me. No, sir.
Fascinating. Mr. Soup Can, would you mind telling me why you're distrustful of the government?
I've seen what they do. Gum up the works with red tape and bureaucracy, take every hard-earned cent and use it to fund their Illuminati, Freemason sex parties. I'm a free man. I should be able to live as I see fit. My taxes pay for them streets and alleys and dumpsters. I'll sleep where I want.
Sir, according to this, you haven't paid taxes in many years.
I seen the back of them Abraxo boxes. Not for consumption? Don't you tell me what to do. I'll eat what I want.
Sir, you may just be the perfect candidate. How would you like to be the new Overseer for Vault 114?
I ain't wearing no goddamn tie. Or pants.
There we go. So that was Soup Can Harry, who was the best candidate for for the role of Overseer here, because he's not wearing no goddamn tie or pants. He'll sleep where he wants. He'll eat Abraxo if that's what he wants to do. And yeah, so they've obviously basically picked up this random homeless guy who has no trust for the government, and it is just he's going to do what he wants and is fully believing in all the conspiracy theories about the Illuminati and the Freemasons and all the rest of it. So absolute gold, and they basically offered him the job. So you can imagine that for a bunch of people who are in the upper echelons of society and sort of very wealthy and not really subject to much degree of authority, and that they'd be forced to basically take orders and do what good old Soup Can Harry tells them to do, it's not going to go over well with these people. But yeah, the interviews are absolutely hilarious. But we don't know what happened to poor old Soup Can Harry, because the vault never received its residents. It was just sort of the construction was delayed for too long, so they ended up not actually coming into the vault, and as if you're sneaky when you're going through this place the first time, you can hear some of the Triggermen chatting, including one who is a ghoul, and they were talking about how they think that Vault-Tec never intended for this vault to be open, even though we did see a list of families that were registered, and that they were potentially using it to keep construction people employed, essentially, and on the books, so that they could do something elsewhere. And the ghoul kind of observes that that's something that companies pre-war used to do, as well as a kind of a scam. So it might be that this was never really actually intended to be opened at all, which is an interesting question. Just going to double check, because I think there was a branching pathway that I missed when we came through this loading screen. Here we go. So yeah, this was where you would come out and you would confront Skinny Malone. You get here. Actually, yeah, so the two guys that I was talking about that you can overhear talking about the kind of construction scam, I'm pretty sure that's these two here, because you can see that they're ghouls. So, you know, they would have been alive before the war. Yeah, you do see the municipal plutonium well, because so much of the world here is relying on nuclear energy in some form. So they have like public plutonium wells, and a lot of the kind of gas stations, service stations like the Red Rocket truck stops and things, it's mostly coolant that they have, because most of the modern vehicles are nuclear powered, so they have coolant for them rather than fuel, which again ties in that there's, you know, shortages and things like that. Yeah. So that was Vault 114, which never actually got to the stage of functioning. So at some point, the Triggermen and Skinny Malone have discovered this place and figured that it was a good place for a home base because it's secure, and you know, there is provisions for water and electricity and you know, a lot of supplies and stuff like that. So it makes sense. I mean, that's the reason that even vaults that have been abandoned by their original residents are often used by other groups to hole up in, because they do make for a good base. You see the same in Fallout New Vegas and Vault 3, where the fiends are kind of holed up in Vault 3, led by Motor Runner, and basically it was a case that the original residents just opened the door and they came in and killed them all. Vault 19 in Fallout New Vegas is the same with the Powder Gangers. Vault 95 in Fallout 4, which the Gunners have, and Vault 75 the Gunners also have control over. So there's quite a few places where that's happened. And again, it makes total sense because, you know, the survival in the post-apocalyptic, survival in any situation is based on having access to three very important things: food, water and shelter. And you know, in a hostile environment such as this post-apocalyptic wasteland where there's giant insects and terrifying monsters and a lot of angry people, it makes so much sense then that people would try and find a secure place to kind of hole up and make their home base. And if you can get hold of a vault, that gives you a really good chance of you know, kind of getting a good outcome for yourself and the people that you're working with. So when you've kind of completed the quest to get Nick Valentine out, this door becomes available and you can come out and you can exit. There's another exit from the station basically into back bay, so this brings you out a bit closer to Diamond City than the main entrance to Park Street Station. Obviously the reason for that is that it's a plot dungeon, so you know, when you get out with Nick Valentine and then he's like, oh, I'll go, you know, I better go back to my agency, and then you can go and meet him there to discuss the next steps for finding Sean. Because also it does give you then the option of, like, you can delay that until you feel like you want to do the next part of the main plot, which is something that I think Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 don't necessarily get a lot of credit for, even though they all do this, and as does Fallout New Vegas, where, you know, it's like, okay, this is the next step for the main plot, but you're not forced into it like in some games. You know, it's like, okay, you found Nick Valentine, now you need to speak to him about your next steps for finding Sean, which is where you then describe what happened and describe the man that took him, and he's like, well, that sounds like Kellogg. So then it's like, okay, well, we need to figure out how we find Kellogg. But when you come out here, when it eventually loads, you and Nick are there and you have a quick chat, and then he just says, right, I'll head back to Diamond City and come and see me when you're ready, which means that you can then just go off and do whatever you like. You can take yourself off to Nuka World if you want, you can just leave and that's fine. And it's something that I think is really good in all of these games, because as I say, Fallout New Vegas does that as well. And you can also sequence break the main plot a bit, and this game can, again, something that's quite possible to do in Fallout New Vegas, and in Fallout 3 to some extent, depending on where you end up. But it's good to have that flexibility as well, because especially if you're playing through a game like this for the first time, you're going to want to go off and explore, and you're going to see things as you're wandering about and think, oh, what's in there? And that's kind of the point. And especially in a Bethesda game, you know, I mean, I've never actually, I've owned Oblivion on the PlayStation 3 and PC for a long time, like 14 years or something. I've never completed Oblivion because I just get too distracted, and I ended up basically becoming a treasure hunter and going and digging into random dungeons and finding treasures and selling them and things. And Skyrim is the same, you know. I've and I have completed the main story of Skyrim. I did eventually do that, but you just, you know, you can just do so much in these games that's not the main plot, and you can go and you can explore and you can make some interesting discoveries, and I think that's the appeal. I'm just talking over this loading screen, which is probably a bit pointless, but you know, it's and I think that's the thing, is that you know, I do like that in Fallout 4, like at the end of each of the main plot quests, it's kind of like, okay, well, we've got to this point, and then you decide when you're ready to start the next stage of it, and you can just do it when it suits you. But yeah, so that's Vault 114, which is located in Park Street Station. So now that you can only get in that way if you have come out of it before, so you have to have rescued Nick basically, to be able to use that access. You're a mannequin. You're a bit creepy. The mannequins are very creepy. So that's Vault 114, and I think it's an interesting one because the experiment doesn't sound like, when you compare it to some of the other ones where they're actively doing harm to people, this one is kind of an interesting one because they're not, they're forcing people into an uncomfortable situation. That's what the gist of it is that they're taking these wealthy elite people, the people that are like billionaires and CEOs of massive corporations in the area and all that kind of stuff. So these are, people that are very, very wealthy and are living in the lap of luxury, especially in a circumstance where economically things in the a lot of kind of sectors are not great, but you've still got these people. So they've been offered this place and been lied to, been told, oh yeah, you're going to live in the lap of luxury, everything's going to be exactly what you want, and you're going to have like, I don't know what the word for it is, but you're going to have everything that you want, everything that you need. You're going to be waited on hand and foot, everything's going to be great. And the fact that they even mentioned one of them, there was a couple and they had a dog. I think they were an engaged couple that had a dog, and it was like they put the dog on the list, but then they're like, do not allow. And if you watch the TV show, oh yeah, the dogs aren't allowed in the vaults because they eat meat. And that's not something that's going to be possible to come by, and it's something that doesn't seem to have happened in any of the vaults that none of them really have the space allocated to be able to produce livestock of any kind. How on earth are you going to manage a herd of cows in a vault? And you're not going to have the space to grow their feed, because that's one thing about livestock, is that a lot of land is dedicated to growing grass for like hay and silage, and growing other crops in order to feed the livestock. So Vault-Tec have obviously decided no, that's just not feasible. So any kind of meat that's available is going to be preserved stuff like cram, which is essentially spam. It's kind of the equivalent of spam. And like Lucy mentions that they had tinned tuna. In her vault, obviously Vault 4, they had access to sturgeon eggs in order to make caviar, that kind of thing, because of the research that took place in that vault in particular. But most vaults, it's going to be like the kind of pre-prepared stuff that we find that's like well preserved, probably because it's full of horrific preservatives and things, because the FDA doesn't seem to really care that much in the Fallout universe. But you've got your Salisbury steak, you've got your deviled eggs. How they managed to preserve deviled eggs for 200 years, I have no idea, but that seems to be a thing. And then the cram and the, it's all that kind of stuff, and like canned foods that are gonna last. And it's a lot easier for them to be able to grow plants for people to eat. So you see that Vault 81, the lady that's researching sort of hydroponics and things like that. And we see it in the TV show, and then some of the vaults dotted about that they have space dedicated to growing vegetables and things like that, in order to kind of feed the vault population. And again, that's dependent on what the plan is for the vault as well. So like Vault 111, they only had food supplies for 6 months or so, which clearly wasn't going to be enough for it to be safe for them to leave the vault. In Vault 114, there was lots of crates and stuff there, so it probably was a decent kind of food supply. But again, it's probably all kind of junk food and like all that kind of stuff that, instead of it being really fancy food, and, that these people probably thought that they were going to come into this vault and they would be dining on caviar and lobster and, lots of kind of fancy food and that kind of thing, and probably like, sort of high-end restaurant quality food, and that's not what they were going to get. So it's an interesting one, because it's not something that I would describe as horrific, but the fact that it's all, again, it's a psychological experiment. They just wanted to see, like, we put these really wealthy upper class people in a situation where they have to live in a much lower standard of living than what they would expect, how are they going to react? Because if you, like, obviously, and the kind of big joke or the funny part is that they're going to hire Soup Can Harry, the slightly mad conspiracy theorist homeless man, and to be in charge of the vault, because that would add stress to the residents. But you can imagine if, if they had instead, say, opened up this vault to the homeless population, they would be really grateful because it's a step up from their situation, that they would at least have a bed and have the ability to shower and have access to food and water. But even then, it's not a comfortable situation to live with. Living with other people is not always easy. Especially if you're sharing a bedroom or with people that aren't like immediate family or friends, that can be really awkward and it can be really difficult. And these communal living spaces, the fact that the showers, it's just curtains, the toilets even, it's just curtains, they've not even got proper toilet cubicles or anything. That's obviously going to be really uncomfortable for people, and unpleasant. So it's an interesting one. I say the debate is still out on whether Vault-Tec actually intended the vault to open and be functional, but either way it didn't happen. Either they ran out of time or they were just kind of digging their heels in before allowing it to be finished off. Are you a person? You are a person. So yeah, it's quite an interesting one, but that was Vault 114. Oh no, what happened to the robot? Oh, the tour robot died. I don't remember what happened to him. Yeah. It's an interesting one because Boston obviously is a city that's quite important to the kind of early history of the United States, and it was often one of the first kind of landing points for ships coming from Europe, coming from here and Britain and Ireland and things. And as you notice, a lot of the kind of surnames and things are Irish, and there is quite a population of people in this part of the world that have Irish kind of heritage and things like that. So it's just interesting to see how that all kind of fits together. But that was Vault 114 that never opened, but was designed to make some very rich people extremely uncomfortable for science, because that's what we do at Vault-Tec. So thanks very much for watching and listening. Hopefully you found this interesting. If there's any issues or anything you notice with the videos or the sound, I'm still working on kind of making sure it's all balanced and things, but I think it's I've got my setup kind of pretty much spot on at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let me know what vault you want to see next, and I'll see what I can do. And don't forget, on Saturday the final part of the Mirelurk series is going to be up, which we're looking at the Nuka-Lurks and the effect that Nuka-Cola Quantum has on the Mirelurk species. So we'll be visiting the Nuka-Cola bottling plant in DC, and we'll be visiting the World of Refreshment in Nuka World. So hopefully you'll join me for that. And then next Tuesday will be the next part of Old World Blues as well. So hopefully you're looking forward to all of that. And I will see you all next time. Bye.